And so, lovely Morrigan has at last found someone willing to dance to her. Why dance at all? What has Morrigan told you? What little plan has she hatched this time? How true, so says the shoe to the... But if I am to get... but it is an... Let us skip right to the ending, shall we? Do you slay the old wretch as Morrigan bids, or does... It is a dance poor Flemeth knows well. Let us...
Thank the ancestors. Another minute of her cackling and I'd be heaving up breakfast.
Come. She will earn what she takes. As you wish.
I think I owe you an explanation for what happened earlier. You should know that something happened to me at the tower before you came along. Remember my apprentice, Petra? She encountered a demon in the tower. It would have killed her had I not intervened. I saved her life that day, but I did not survive that encounter with the demon. It's not a joke, I promise. Let me explain. I engaged a very powerful demon to rescue Petra. It sapped me of all my energy and will and left me drained. It took everything I had to defeat it. And when I was done, I no longer had the strength to keep my heart beating. I remember my life ebbing away. Everything receded from me. Sound, light. I remember being enveloped in complete, impenetrable darkness. And then I sensed I felt life and warmth flowing through my veins. The Fade contained spirits, both benevolent. It was one of these spirits. You see, I am... Perhaps the spirit did not expect this, but it is weakening gradually. I do not know. What's on your mind? I have always had an affinity for the spirits of the Fade. As a child, I never feared my dreams because I knew they were there. I've always been able to feel the spirits, even if I never saw them. And as I nurtured my talent in the circle, I became more sensitive. I began to notice every time I was in the Fade, whether it was in a dream or... I suppose they must. It is these benevolent spirits that create our dream worlds in the Fade. Sometimes I would see it, a glowing, nebulous form. Most times I would just feel its presence, gentle and comforting, but somehow alien. I think it is a spirit of faith. They have never been seen before, and perhaps I am wrong. But something tells me I'm not. It always felt like the same entity. This one spirit was curious about me, and there were times when I was, and I think it gave me strength in my I don't know why I was chosen. Perhaps I like to think that I was given a rare chance, and I'm going to make the best of it. I will not lie motionless in a bed with coverlets up to my chin, waiting for death to claim me. That is not the death for me. And so I will fight alongside the Grey Warden and help prepare her for the task that is yet before her. So you had better listen to me, because I swear, if I should fall before the end and you don't seem to be doing things properly, I'll get up again to give you a good finger wagging. You know, what's on your mind? Cure me? What, am I sick? Even you know that you cannot cure the dead. And I'm not the only one dying. You are too. I'm just more efficient about it. Ah, child, your concern is heartwarming. But death comes to everyone, and it is not something to fear. People fear not death, but having life taken from them. Many waste the life given to them, occupying themselves with things that do not matter. When the end comes, they say they did not have time enough to spend with loved ones, to fulfill dreams, to go on adventures they only talked about. But why should you fear death if you are happy with the life you have led? If you can look back on everything and say, yes, I am content. It is enough. I think I've led a good life, a full life, and I, for one, am not afraid of death, whatever it may bring. They say that when you die, your spirit travels through the Fade and returns to the Maker. And after that, we'll see, won't we? What's on your mind? I try not to dwell too much on the mistakes of my past, of which there are many. I would go quite mad if I did that. But I do have one regret. The greatest misstep of my life, made even more grave because it had dire consequences for someone else. Years ago, I was assigned as mentor to a lad, Anarin. He was my first apprentice. Anarin was an elf, raised in one of the elven alienages, and he was very mistrustful of humans, especially humans in authority. I was his mentor, an authority figure. He can't have liked me very much. What Anarin needed was time. Time to get used to his new home, time to emerge from his shell, so we could build a rapport. I gave him no such time. I was young and arrogant. He is a mage, I thought. He needs to grow up and act like one. I expected too much from him, too quickly. I gave no consideration to his origin or his feelings, and he retreated further from me. All I could think of was how stubborn he was, how he was throwing away all his talent and his potential just to be difficult. Oh, I dread to think. I was a harsh taskmistress. He might have thought I was a demon in disguise. You cannot plant crops in the cold, wintry ground. You cannot teach a student who is closed off and unresponsive. Patience is what is needed, and I learned that too late to help him. Anarin ran away from the circle one night. I had berated him over some trivial, ridiculous matter that I no longer remember. I drove him away because of something utterly unimportant. He was a child, 14 at the time of his leaving. They had his phylactery, and they hunted him down. The phylactery is a vial of blood taken from a mage. But blood is connected to life, and your blood can be used to track you down. They called him Maleficar. I begged the Templars to tell me if he suffered, if they gave him a quick death. I should have known better. I had the best mentors. They were kind, compassionate. Why didn't I learn from them? I failed Anarin. All I had to do was listen to him. He talked about the alienage sometimes. The Templars are well trained. The apprentices that came after Anarin benefited greatly from the lessons I learned from him. In a sense, he was my teacher, and I his student. And there it is.
I'm here for you. Of course. Wait, you want to talk about... Really?
I got a moment. What about? All right.
You called. I am hardly very well. As you wish.
I am listening. Yes, I feel I owe it. No doubt.
You and your friend. There's knights from Redcliffe spread all more likely. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow.
Goodbye.
Mother's real grimoire, is it? I am glad you were able to find it after all. I shall begin studying it immediately and unlock the power that it holds. It is a curious thing. I do not know how else to describe it. That would be rather unlikely, would it not? I am reminded of our first meeting in the wilds. I had been in animal form for some time, watching your progress. I was intrigued to see such... Yet I resented it when Flemeth assigned me to travel with you. I am aware that I have little talent for forming friendships, to put it lightly. It is something I know nothing of, nor ever thought I needed. Yet when I discovered Flemeth's plans, you did not abandon me. And that is what I do not understand. Of all the things I could have imagined would have resulted when Flemeth told me to go with you, the very last would have been that I would find in you a friend, perhaps even a sister. I want you to know that while I may not always prove worthy of your friendship, I will always value it. But enough of such ideas.
You and your friends are formidable. I'm sure.
It'll do, sure. There you are. So I figured, why not invite you to share a drink, huh? Yes! The warden steps up! You handled that like a champion, my friend. Most impressive. How do you feel? Oh no, the rest is for me. You'd need to do something really unspeakable to get into the rest of my stash. I just wanted to tell you, after all we've been through, you're like family to me. Aye, a toast with a dry cup. So, do you want to talk about... What about? Aye, I do. A bit. A little bit. When I was there, I thought it was a muckhole full of backstabbing, tin-plated would-be tyrants. But it's also home. Fly... Still, I can't go... Oh, right. Sorry. But you have to admit, I guess I'd rather be a useless lump of a dwarf out here than a useless lump of a dwarf back there. You want to go back to where you eat trash and get beaten for walking on the wrong street? You're crazier than I thought. Anyhow, let's keep moving. Right here, old pal. What about? All right.
I'm here for you. Of course.
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Well now, I imagine that's a very fair question. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself... Now that you mention it, I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased. For 3 sovereigns, I'm told. Which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The Crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder. And if you do poorly in your training, you die. Was I whining? It's not a life without benefits, for those who can actually survive it long enough to become good. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth, gets you women, and men, or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go. And here I am, happy... Come now, enough. I've a question, if I may. Well, here's the thing. My question pertains to what you intend to do with me once this business is over with. Not precisely. I said I would serve you until you saw fit to release me. One simply assumes that once your Grey Warden business is finished, you would have no need of an assassin to follow you about. Indeed. It is good to know what my options might be.